Hello, do you love iconic movies and movie guns? Ever wanted to see them up close and get the real story behind them? If so, you're in the right place. Stick around, this channel was made for you.
Hello and welcome to Hollywood Guns. I'm your host Wilson. Whether you're into action flicks, classic thrillers, or unforgettable TV shows, this is the place where movie magic meets real-world firearms.
Today we're talking about a gun that's synonymous with action, firepower, and the 1980s. Now, when I asked you all which movie made this gun famous, the overwhelming majority said Terminator and Commando. And you know what? You're not wrong. Those films definitely cemented the Uzi's place in Hollywood history, and don't worry, I'll be showing you all the glorious Arnie scenes later on in the video. But for me, growing up in the UK, my first encounter with this iconic submachine gun was in a 1978 British action flick. While maybe not as globally recognised as those other two blockbusters, holds a special place in my heart, and it features the Uzi front and centre throughout the whole movie. Of course, I'm talking about the Wild Geese. Now, I know not all of you will have seen this film, but you should. For me, and for many lads growing up in Britain in the 80s and 90s, this movie was more than just an action flick. It inspired many people to join the military. In this episode, I'll explore the legend and historical inspiration behind the Wild Geese and its surprising link to a long-running mercenary publication. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it, the story of the
Uzi 9mm.
Hello. Sit still, right where you are, don't move. No sudden noise. We'd like those keys, you see. So, whoever has them, just hand them over. As procedure, search this fellow person. Try the Cuban. I'll take the outside. Mr. Limbani, I'm Faulkner. Just lie there. Come on, Peter, quickly. There you go. How is he?
I'll live, Mr. Faulkner.
That's the plan, sir.
And here is my mid-1980s Uzi carbine, the civilian version of the Uzi submachine gun, designed in the 1940s, shortly after the creation of the State of Israel by firearms designer Uziel Gal. Let's do a quick safety check. All right, before we get started today, I wanted to share some exciting news with you. Hollywood Guns has its first sponsor, Sonoran Desert Institute. And SDI offers top-notch online firearms education, and their support is going to help me take this channel to the next level. I got some really big plans this year, including upcoming interviews with movie directors, armorers, prop houses, and a couple of other firearms industry collaborations that wouldn't be possible without their financial support. So if you're interested in a career as a gunsmith, shooting sports management, or want to learn about the rapidly expanding opportunities in commercial drones, please use the link in the description and pinned comment where you can ask SDI to send you more information. Your support and theirs really helps keep these videos coming. As you can see, this one comes in its original box. It has a brand new sling, which I've never used, an owner manual, which I think is for the Model A rather than the Model B version, which this is, and a 16-inch long carbine barrel, which in this case is fitted with a barrel shroud. Now, due to USA firearms laws, having an original 10.5-inch barrel, which the military Uzi would have, and a stock, means that the gun would have to be registered as a short barrel rifle. So Action Arms, who is the original importer of the gun, had the foresight to include a fake display barrel, which is what this is inside here. If you were to take this barrel out, it only takes like 30 seconds or so. It's just a maybe 5-inch piece of tubing that doesn't connect anywhere near the breech and bolt mechanism of the gun. So it looks cool when it's sitting in my safe, or showing off to my friends like you guys. If I wanted to shoot this gun, undo this, remove the fake barrel, and I would install my carbine barrel instead in order for the gun to function. Oh, and speaking of stocks, there are two main folding designs that we see on most guns. Telescoping stock that you would see on an MP5 where you pull it and it kind of slides out rearwards, and a folding stock. On an AK, that is an underfolding stock that folds underneath the gun, and on, say, a battle rifle, a bit like a FAL, it's a side folding stock and closed like that. However, the Uzi is a completely different design, which personally I think is way cooler, but also far more practical too, as it's much faster to deploy than any other design that I've seen. First of all, there's no detents or buttons that you need to press in order to deploy it. You simply give it a little HK slap and pull it out, just like this. And that's it, good to go. The Uzi submachine gun is renowned for its compact and innovative design, achieved primarily through two key features: a telescoping bolt and a magazine well located in the pistol grip. The telescoping bolt wraps around the barrel and breech end and allows the barrel to be located further back inside the receiver. So the bolt actually slides over the barrel of the gun, and that kind of shortens the overall length of it. Also, it helps make the weapon much more balanced as well. And with the heavier, kind of slower firing bolt, that improves control during automatic fire. And this part, the hands finds hands kind of placement of the magazine, also allows for more intuitive reloading, particularly in low light or stressful situations. Now, these were revolutionary features when first introduced on the Uzi. The Uzi's construction primarily uses stamped sheet metal, which made it kind of more affordable to produce compared to firearms machined from forgings. And its simple design with relatively few moving parts also contributes to the ease of maintenance and reliability of the platform. Military version of the Uzi utilized an open bolt mechanism, which it would fire from like that. So you'll see guns, especially in the Wild Geese, looking like they're open, and that's because they fire from the open bolt. And this kind of further simplified the design and aided in cooling during sustained fire. However, apparently it made it less accurate. I have fired a couple of full auto Uzis in the past at range days, and I have to say that its weight, this is very heavy for its size, and relatively low cyclic speed of about 600 RPM means that it's both usable and accurate in bursts and sustained auto fire.
It's all yours, Jock. Come on.
Service use. First introduced to the Israeli Defense Force Special Forces in 1954, it saw widespread use in conflicts like the Suez Crisis and the Six-Day War, where its firepower and portability proved invaluable in clearing enemy positions. Beyond its Israeli service, the Uzi achieved remarkable success. Exported to over 90 countries and adopted by numerous military, law enforcement, and security agencies. It was notably used by the Royal Netherlands Army as the first country to adopt the firearm outside of Israel. The German Bundeswehr adopted it and gave it the designation MP2. And even the US Secret Service famously deployed, and I believe the agent's name was Richard Wanko, that's a great name for my British audience, during the very famous 1981 assassination attempt on President Reagan. The Uzi's simple, reliable design, coupled with its compact firepower, made it a popular choice for decades, solidifying its status as one of the most widely sold submachine guns in history. And it was eventually replaced by more modern weapons like the MP5 and MP7.
Get Mr. Limbani on the plane first. The others follow and cover. Just a... Sandy in the group if they get through.
The movie gun versus my example. From an external comparison, the receiver and other components like the stock, oh, I just love doing that, and the grip are identical to the movie guns. Several of the movie guns we see in Wild Geese have stainless barrels though, although I could never find out why. And of course, the Uzis used were undoubtedly full auto models that would have had an extra switch, I believe marked with an A there, for full auto firing. Whereas of course this is a civilian legal version that was redesigned to fire from a closed bolt and in semi-automatic only. This change actually did have a benefit. Apparently it improved accuracy because when you pull the trigger, you don't have the mass of the bolt pushing forward to fire the gun. So military complaints were often that there was like a little bit of a delay firing, and then you would kind of have the bolt mechanism moving forward, causing you to come slightly off your aim with the military gun. Interestingly, Action Arms, the company that imported and sold the Uzi carbine in large numbers in the USA during the 1980s, actually employed Uziel Gal himself, the original designer of the Uzi, to design the closed bolt mechanism and the semi-automatic firing group. Then the guns themselves were actually manufactured by IMI in Israel, just like the military versions. However, the commercial success of the Uzi carbine led to a legal dispute between Uziel Gal and Action Arms, with Action Arms initially refusing to pay all the royalties that were due on the design of the semi-automatic platform. But ultimately, Uziel Gal won that case in court. Just a quick intermission for a second. Are you enjoying this video? And if you haven't already, please can you subscribe and hit the bell icon button so that you get notified about new videos. A few viewers have mentioned to me that YouTube sometimes unchecks the bell icon, so you might want to double check that setting. And if you want to support Hollywood Guns even more, I have started designing some cool t-shirts that will feature a movie gun and a famous line associated with it from each movie. The first one up is obviously the AMT Hardballer long slide from the Terminator, and it's available in the YouTube store right now. A quick sizing tip, because I had this sample sent through. If you're on the fence between two sizes, go with the larger one. They fit perfectly now, but you know, after a few washing cycles, they might shrink a tad. Accuracy of firearms portrayal in the movie. The Wild Geese came out nearly 50 years ago. While action movie special effects haven't changed too much since the 90s, the acting and overall filmmaking style were definitely very different in the 70s. So keep that in mind, and please forgive any bias I may have. This is a boyhood hero movie for me, starring legends like Richard Burton in the twilight of his career, future 007 Roger Moore, and the incredible talents of Richard Harris and Hardy Kruger. I won't be ripping on any of them today. As I teased in the intro, the movie The Wild Geese is inspired by persistent rumors and speculation surrounding a supposed failed coup attempt in the Seychelles that involved the legendary mercenary Mad Mike Hoare. Great name for my American audience. A controversial figure, Mike was a British mercenary leader who was active in several African conflicts during the 1960s and 70s. Now, I don't know for sure, but I think he was perhaps one of the major influences that caused a notorious publication to be launched in 1975, and another one of my collecting hobbies. I am, of course, talking about Soldier of Fortune magazine. If you're familiar with this magazine from the glory days, hit pause and send me a comment of one of your favorite memories or articles from that magazine. Firearm capacity.
Aaron, I've got something to say to you. I'll give it to you emotionally first, and then rationally if I have to.
As you've seen in the clips, several members of the mercenary team carry and deploy the Uzi in multiple engagements. They generally fire in short, controlled bursts, which is realistic. From my experience, a full auto Uzi can empty a 32-round magazine in about 3 seconds. Firing 3 to 5 round bursts, you'd get roughly 6 to 10 bursts before needing a reload. The film does a good job of avoiding extended full auto fire that would realistically deplete the magazine too quickly. However, this scene here with Faulkner does come pretty close.
Don't worry. We'll make it.
The only sequence that gives me real pause is Whitty's last stand.
Whitty, back here! Get your lovely asses out of here! This is holding the fort! Stay down! Come on, you lovelies! Show yourselves! Whitty! Peter! Hey! Come on, you beauties! Where are you?
Ironically, it's the only time we see an Uzi magazine run dry in the movie. While many of the bursts in this scene are off camera and we only hear them, and I guess there are potential pauses for reloads, Whitty is the Unix medic, and up until this point in the film, we haven't really seen anything to suggest that he'd be particularly fast or proficient with rapid magazine changes. It seems unlikely to me that he could reload that quickly under pressure, and I think really what we're hearing is one continuous firing sequence. Obviously, it's more than the magazine would take. Therefore, I'd consider this a minor oversight really for a movie of this age, and really it's not a major error to me. So overall, the Wild Geese earns a B+ for its Uzi capacity realism.
I thought we had this in the bag.
Caliber capability. Like many movies, the Wild Geese is very unrealistic when it comes to the explosive capability of hand grenades. However, when it comes to the effects of the 9mm Uzi round, I don't see anything troubling. The round is neither portrayed as underpowered so that the bad guys kind of walk it off, nor is it overpowered, launching them backwards like we see with the hand grenades. Most offensive troops are stopped with short bursts, and it looks pretty realistic to me. So in this category, it earns an A. Actor and character accuracy. Could they make the shots they took? The Uzi is a submachine gun for close quarters combat, and in the Wild Geese, that's pretty much all we see it deployed for. The Merc team also have an array of heavier duty weapons for longer range engagements, including FAL variants like the L1A1, Bren light machine guns, and even a Vickers. I don't see any engagements with the Uzi that seem even slightly implausible for a highly trained mercenary team, even if all of them were dragged out of retirement for this one last mission hurrah. So I'm happy to say it earns another grade A. Overall grade for firearms accuracy in the Wild Geese for the Uzi, grade A-.
Do I have to ask how it went?
No.
That's all.
Other movies the Firearm has appeared in. Well, the Uzi has appeared in literally hundreds of movies and TV shows from the 1970s to the present day. There are just too many to feature in this section. We'd be here all year, and that's before we even cover the mini and micro variants. I'll save those for another episode in the future. Nearly every significant and memorable movie and show of the 1980s and 90s had Uzis in them, but as I poured through the credits in IMFDB, I did notice an interesting pattern. If it was in a civilian setting like Miami Vice, the A-Team, or Scarface, the Uzi was used by mostly bad guys. And if it was a war-inspired movie, the Uzi was mainly used by good guys. We'll get to two of the biggest ones in a minute, but I have to start at the beginning and pay homage to the first on-screen appearance of the Uzi, one that I didn't even know about before researching this video. In the raid on Entebbe, a 1976 made-for-TV film starring Charles Bronson and a young James Woods, it dramatizes the real-life Operation Entebbe, a daring hostage rescue mission by the Israeli Defense Forces on July 4th, 1976. The film follows the hijacking of an Air France flight by terrorists, who with the support of Ugandan dictator Idi Amin, divert the plane to Entebbe airport. After tense negotiations and a looming deadline, Israel authorizes a high-risk rescue operation. Despite facing fierce resistance and suffering the loss of their commander, Yonatan Netanyahu, who is the older brother of future Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the commando successfully rescued most of the hostages, dealing a significant blow to the terrorists and Idi Amin's regime. I could not find a streaming service that had this movie available to watch, so let me know in the comments if you've seen it and what your review is. And that brings us to the two Arnold Schwarzenegger movies that don't need any introduction. You know and love these movies and scenes as much as I do. Is there any single actor more synonymous with the Uzi than Arnie? I don't think so. Also, remember what I said earlier about good guys and bad guys' portrayal of the Uzi? Well, the Terminator is set in Los Angeles, so we see it as the bad guy gun, and Commando is more focused on the hero's role as a special forces vet who then single-handedly assaults an island military base. So in this movie, it's the good guy's gun.
Uzi 9mm.
Know your weapons, buddy. Any one of these is ideal for home defense.
And that's peak Uzi, peak action movies, peak 1980s. It's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and once again, thanks for your support by subscribing, liking, sending me a comment and hitting that bell icon button. And if you want more Arnold content, next up is a video I made featuring the AMT hardball alongside with laser sighting from the movie poster you can see on the left there, The Terminator. I'll see you in the next episode.
Feller, I think you should get on your ass and vacate the premises. You're likely to get your sainthood shut off.
I do that. Good luck to you, godless murderers.
That's one of the most moving benedictions I ever heard.